Okay, I'll mute myself.
When you're almost a herd, I'm a real nerd. People say I'm a fool, but they never got the news that I'm a wild one. Oh yeah, I'm a wild one. You better turn it up, better keep the channel down, cause you're watching Wild Mike and his real wild child. Oh yeah, I'm a wild one. You better turn it up, better keep the channel down, cause you're watching Wild Mike and his real wild child.
Howdy, folks. This is Vile Mike here, and already I got Elihu. How you doing, man? Yes, you can talk. Did you disconnect your microphone?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. So, just
I can
letting you
talk?
guys know, Mrs. Vile was sick last week. I apparently caught her illness, and while I feel mostly back to normal, I do have a bit of a cough, which I'm hoping won't turn into bronchitis again. So I might be muting it myself every once in a while just because I'm coughing.
I'm having some problems with my mic right now. Hang on.
And I'm also streaming from the phone today because, surprise, surprise, I'm having computer issues. I don't know what the hell's going on. When I activate my phone's hotspot to use as internet while I'm out and about, my computer will connect to all other forms of Wi-Fi, and my other devices seem to be able to connect to my phone, but for reasons I cannot explain, between my phone and
Can
my
you hear me
computer,
now?
they won't connect. So, yeah, fun, silly willy. And I don't think this stream is going to go on for too long, only because I do have to work today. They won't connect. Too long. Say that again. They won't connect. Oh, I'm hearing an echo. Say that again.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to fix my mic.
Well, I muted you just in case.
Thank you. I was trying to fix my mic. You can hear me now, right?
Yes, I can hear you now, and no echo. Echo.
Okay.
Echo.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to fix it. Sorry. This damn geomagnetic storm.
Well, I don't think the storm is the reason why my phone and computer aren't talking to each other.
No, I'm just talking facetiously because it's only affecting high towers, basically short-range radios, military GPS, that sort of shit. Not private civilian shit.
Well, because I was sick, I was kind of able to, in between long naps and stuff, I decided to catch up on some TV. Because what else was I going to do other than try to get better?
Yell at your kids?
No, they were with their moms, so I didn't have to deal with them.
Oh, okay.
So I finished The Bad Batch. I watched X-Men 97, and I watched Fallout.
You finally saw the famous X-Men panel.
Okay, dude. I watched more TV this last week than I've probably watched in the last month combined. And my TV, I still be just looking at my computer or cell phone.
So you now understand what everybody means when they say X-Men went hard.
Yeah, that I think it was like episode 5. I was kind of shocked that they did certain things, and I'm like, that's not how it went in the comic books, and they usually adapt the comic books fairly. Oh, okay, now I get it.
Kapla bird.
And I do find it funny that I mentioned the whole Spider-Man, if they were gonna include him because of the crossovers beforehand, and then what was it, episode 8? They include a shot of Spider-Man. Plus, because of the whole Secret Wars crossover, they included Captain America. They even referenced the Hulk, Doctor Doom. I was like, oh yeah, they listened to me. I'm sure that's what the reason they did it. They listened to me. Because that was literally something we were talking about.
Yeah, I believe Secret Wars is coming. X-Men versus
But
Avengers.
they already did Secret Wars. That's what I'm saying.
I mean X-Men versus Avengers is coming.
That I can see. Yeah, this is going to be a fun stream if both the people on it right now are going to be coughing all the time.
I better.
Hey guys.
How you doing, MB?
Bob.
Hey, Bob. You see the pink sky?
So, Mike, you watched X-Men '97, huh?
Yep. I was sick earlier this week, so I finally had a chance to watch a bunch of stuff.
What'd you think?
I both really like it and I really hate it at the same time. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Magneto used the nuclear option finally. Come on.
Well, no. What I mean is, okay, the whole appeal of the original X-Men show for me as a kid was it was really adapting the storylines that I was familiar with back in the day.
Yeah.
But they put, of course, their own little animation twist on them. And X-Men 97 leaned heavy into that, which I like. But I also hate because those storylines are now 40 years old. And, of course, at the end of the year, I turn 40, and now it's making me feel old, even though the title says 97.
Really? The Superman story is 70 years old. You still feel old?
No, I'm talking about those specific storylines that they're doing in the show are from when I was born. You know, the Chris Claremont run back in the 80s and early 90s.
Hey, I can't believe they're doing a story arc from the 90s. Remember when they were doing those hologram ones and stuff? And I mean, just when I saw Wolverine, impale Magneto, and then all of a sudden I saw him, and all of a sudden his stuff's coming out. I was like, oh shit, they're going there. They're going with that storyline.
It's that famous panel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was famous for a lot of reasons. That was as famous as like Batman's back getting broke by Bane, and Superman dying,
and Peter Spider-Man when you hear the snap on Gwen. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Those are things those are memorable panels. You never forget them. When I remember watching that and they just ripped out, in those panels, he's ripping out Wolverine's adamantium. My question next is Xavier going to do to Magneto what he did to him in the comics?
I'm not sure, but if you actually notice, what they did to the episode.
Hold on. Go ahead, Elijah. Never mind. I'm sorry.
If you notice what they did to the episode, it didn't fade to black. It froze. Then it went to black.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah.
So my question, though, is Xavier going to render Magneto a vegetable like he did in the comic?
Oh, based on what I've seen, they are totally setting up the Onslaught saga.
Yeah. That's got to be, they are setting up for season 2 to be the Onslaught saga.
So, and I both really want to see that, and I both don't because of the nostalgia factor. I don't want to be into the show just because of the nostalgia factor.
That's the one of the reasons they made the show. They made it for us, the guys who grew up on this show.
Yeah, you grew up on
I
many.
mean, one of the things I loved was when they had the Mojo episode and they were doing the video game thing that looked like a 90s video game. And I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. I'm like, I feel like a teenager again.
It wasn't just that, and B, they were literally homaging the X-Men arcade game. Yeah. And I half expected him to do when Magneto says, I am Magneto, I fully expected him to finish that comment with Master of Magnet.
Even though it's Master
because that was such a funny line in the arcade that for some reason he said Master of Magnet instead of magnetism.
Yeah.
Charles still calls him Magnus.
So.
Yeah, that really was. Yeah, I do remember that looking a lot like the old video game back in the day.
And they finally have his fucking tattoo on his arm. Thank you, animators. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Finally.
And Magneto's like, I've had enough. He's scorched earth. Talk about a scorched earth.
Worldwide EMP.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. The electromagnetic Earth's magnetic pulse is strongest at the North Pole. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, when I saw him up there and I saw what he was doing, I was like, oh shit, is he about to set off an EMP at the North Pole? Yep, he sure did.
He pulled a Pliskin. 000, not the world code.
I thought it was 666 for the world code.
I thought it was all zeros. It's been a while, sorry. And you got somebody on.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Escape from LA.
You got somebody on
I saw it's on Twitch. I'm ignoring it because it's probably a bot.
Yeah, okay. The only thing I didn't like about that Escape from LA was the damn surfing sewer scene with Steve Buscemi in there. I'm like, what the hell is that? Surfing? No.
Yeah,
it's a California thing. They had to include surfing somehow. I'm kidding.
Strange thing with, well, think about it. Between Escape from New York and Escape from LA, he has a weird level with karma. It's like he gets put in a bad spot his karma puts him in a bad spot only for him to come out and save the fucking day.
Well, that's because Snake Plissken is a video game character. He just doesn't know it.
Who happens to break the fourth wall right before he blows out the match?
Yep. Oh, actually, I watched the first episode of that Doctor Who. I cannot pronounce his name.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Okay, Ncuti. Yeah, I watched that Church on Ruby Road. I actually found the singing part quite entertaining.
I have a theory who Miss Flood is.
No spoilers.
No,
I don't know.
Just a theory.
Like I said, I'm watching the second episode, the first season episode on Disney Plus. I don't know. He's a little too happier than I'm used to seeing.
He's supposed to be happy right now.
I know. It's just, it takes a little getting used to. Although I will say he's still as mad as a hatter.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think he got a lot of his eggs down to Capaldi.
Well, he's maintaining the crazy bloke in a box. He does still act quite mad. So I thought that was interesting. It's like I told people, I'm not a Whovian. I have no skin in this game. I'm not getting into the Twitter X shit that's going on. I'm just like, I don't care. I'll make my own decision.
Well, Russell Davis did
Well, that's
confirm that the Timeless Child storyline is part of this new arc.
Yeah, actually, I will tell you that comes up in this first episode quite a bit.
Okay, I haven't
And
seen it yet.
actually, and I'm not gonna say why, but I'm gonna say between the Christmas episode and the first episode of the season, this ties in. This does kind of relate and tie into with his new companion.
well. I did not watch Doctor Who because I have not caught up. I'm not through with Jodie Whittaker's arc, and same thing with you. I don't really. I do like Doctor Who. I would consider myself a Whovian, but I'm also not a hater. I don't really hate Jodie Whittaker's performance. I hate more of Chris Chibnall's ability to run the show at that point.
It's pronounced chin balls.
Whatever.
I didn't
just
think
saying,
the first season was. Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't think the first season was bad. I think that the Timeless Child thing, yeah, that set everybody. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, dude, nobody wanted an origin story. But it's like, oh well, they greenlit it, so here you go. But I'm not getting into the fight with that. It's just I'm done with those.
Yeah.
I'm done with those fights. I'm done with getting mad about shit. I'm kind of like, look, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, well, then I don't really care. You know, there's plenty of other shit to watch. I'm catching up on. Let's see what I'm watching. I'm catching up on Suits. I stopped for a while. Now I'm picking back up on season 4 or 5. And when I'm in the mood to have something on when I'm in the mood to just have something on, I've been putting on a Walker Texas Ranger.
Jared
The reboot or the original?
Yeah, Jared or Chuck?
No, the original with Norris.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been watching that.
And finally,
nice.
Well,
sorry.
and only because you brought up Chuck Norris, I gotta tell you a little story that is kind of funny to me. Years and years ago, my stepdad, who I was not a big fan of, was a huge Chuck Norris Walker Texas Ranger fan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I only knew him. I knew he watched the show, but I didn't watch it, so I had no idea who Chuck Norris was. But I was in karate, and during the summer one year when I was, maybe 10-ish, we had karate camp where we would actually, it was like 6th grade camp type thing. We would go out to the forest, camp in these little log houses type things, and we'd practice karate and do little games and stuff for an entire week. Well, my sensei, Floyd Burke, happens to be friends with Chuck Norris.
Nice.
And during the week, Chuck Norris decided to swing by our karate camp.
Oh, nice.
And do an exhibition match with my sensei, Floyd Burke. So my sensei versus Chuck Norris. And it was mostly just for fun, okay? They weren't trying to kill each other or anything like that. They were just trying to show off their skills in a sparring match. But again, I had no clue who Chuck Norris was. So after the week is over, I'm relaying this story to my mom, and my stepdad happens to overhear. And I remember saying, yeah, and then during the week, this old guy swings by and has an exhibition match with Sensei Burke. And I think his name was like Chuck Norris or something. And my stepdad starts freaking the fuck out. I was like, you met Chuck Norris? And I'm like, well, I saw him, and he shook a bunch of our hands, and he's like, you met him? How could you not tell me this? I'm like, because I don't know who he is. He goes, he's Walker Texas fucking Ranger.
He's also Lone Wolf McQuaid.
He also got his ass kicked by Bruce Lee.
Hey, actually, I was reading a lot. I love reading up about that whole thing. So when I watched an interview where Chuck said that Bruce called him up and said, "Hey, I'm making this movie, and I'd like you to do this epic fight scene with me." And he's like, "Well, who wins?" He's like, Bruce is like, "Well, I do." And this was kind of early in Norris's career. So we find out that this is an interesting thing too. You find out that Chuck Norris did a lot of competition. Bruce Lee never actually fought competitively.
No, he just
No, he
trained
didn't.
and he just taught students and did movies.
Yep.
He
And
didn't think about his philosophy was not to show off, but just be yourself.
So one of the things I found out was that whole fight scene between him and Norris, they didn't practice it. They didn't choreography it, anything. They had trained together so often they knew each other's moves. So they just put it together as they were fighting. That was not choreographed.
Oh, sounds like Bruce Lee style.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've heard about this, Elihu, that when Bruce Lee would bring out the nunchucks, the stuntmen were terrified to go near him.
Yeah, everybody backed off like, can I get extra padding on my balls?
Like he got a hold of those things, they were terrified of him. I mean, wouldn't you be?
Dude, I am 6'2" and nearly 300 pounds. I would be terrified of Bruce Lee looking at me.
I watched this. I watched this very.
Sorry.
Well, 1 second, Elihu. I watched this very old interview with Bruce Lee. It's black and white, and he was doing a demonstration of how. And this was black and white, and you could tell how you just got a sense of how fast this guy really was, because he literally at two separate occasions has a guy stood up next to him. He puts his fist out in front of him, and the guy does. By the time the guy flinches, Bruce Lee's fist has already gone back.
1 inch punch.
Oh
yeah,
NB. Yeah. To get you to understand how insanely fast he was, they missed punches when they were recording him at 30 frames a second. That means some of his punches were occurring so fast, they were faster than 1/30th of a second.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was watching that video. When I watched that video, and I saw him do the punch thing, and the guy, on two separate occasions he does it, and the guy doesn't flinch until it's like his brain doesn't respond to the fact that this guy just put his fist in front of his face, and his natural instinct is to dodge and get out of the way or flinch. But by the time he does it, Bruce Lee's hands all the way back. Yeah.
But by the time he realizes he was nearly punched in the face, Bruce Lee's already walking away and smoking a cigarette.
Pretty much. That is how fast that son of a gun was.
That's why I think to this day, when people do the whole, the Chuck Norris jokes.
Yeah.
To me, it would be more of Bruce Lee.
I think it's because Chuck Norris has been around longer.
That's probably it. If he was still alive, it would be Bruce Lee. I bet. If he was still
alive, we'd probably have Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. We'd have those Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris things going.
Yeah, Chuck Norris fought Chuck Norris in a match, and the referee lost.
Chuck Norris has been in all 6 Star Wars movies. Chuck Norris was the Force. I saw that one recently.
Well, here's to continue my metaphor. Children all around the world wear Superman pajamas. Superman wears Chuck Norris pajamas. Chuck Norris wears Bruce Lee pajamas.
I like that one. That's good. Hey, Elihu, do you remember which movie it was with Bruce Lee and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
No, I don't.
Now, that was a hell of a fight scene there. You got big-ass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bruce Lee. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did train with Bruce Lee. A lot of celebrities trained with Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but to be fair, when you got that kind of speed and strength, I don't think mass is going to help you out as much, which is why I said I have no qualms about being kicked or, my ass handed to me by Bruce Lee. I realize he's over a foot shorter than me and, weighs 1/3 of my weight, but he's still going to kick my ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There ain't no way around it. But, I mean, it was just an interesting fight scene, seeing one so tall and, then you see Bruce Lee and his size, and it's just like, you kind of get that Yoda vibe going, size matters not.
Yeah. Kung Fu is my ally, and a strong ally it is.
Oh. Yeah, that dude could do shit that just looked magical.
I'm back.
So, to go back to some of the shows that I'd watched or in the title of the stream, I did finally watch Fallout. And yeah, I pretty much binged the entire thing, ironically, except for the last episode, which I didn't watch until last night. And I both really enjoyed it, but have you guys seen it?
No, I never saw Fall Guy.
Okie dokie.
No, Fallout.
Fallout.
Oh, Fallout. Sorry, I thought you said Fall Guy. I don't know why I kept thinking that. Oh, maybe because the movie just.
Yeah.
Walter Goggins just ate up every fucking scene he was in.
I'm not denying that.
I thought it had a nice. As someone who is not a fan of the games, I only ever played one, and I didn't play it very long. I thought the show was quite entertaining. I found the blend of humor in it was rather fun. I like the fact that the female character is not a Mary Sue. She fucks up a lot. She's very naive. I like the fact that the what's his name? The Squire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I found him.
Sorry, Maximus.
Yeah. I found him interesting and entertaining because it seems like, he's kind of almost as naive as she is at times, just on a different level of naivety. And then, of course, you've got Walter Goggins' character, and then all the story stuff that's going on between what's going on in the 3 vaults, and then what you see with Vault 4, and they were like, "What's your mission?" And okay, so we're finding out this was these guys are playing a long game. These motherfuckers at Vault are creating a long game.
Now, spoilers for anyone watching, because even though I always deride spoilers because I haven't seen something, but it's my stream, so I don't care. What they ended up doing to Shady Sands, I almost turned it off at that point because I was pissed. Because, okay, I've played Fallout 1, I've played Fallout 2, and I've played Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
I know the time my characters have spent rebuilding the new California Republic for some asshole to bomb their capital and throw them into complete disarray. That pissed me off because I'm like, I worked hard to rebuild this country. My home state of California. And this guy ruins it.
That's the point, dude.
I know. And they did it specifically so that your actions don't matter because of the plot lines of Fallout 1, 2, and New Vegas. But I'm just like, God damn it.
That's like I said, I got no references for the game to make a comparison.
Okay,
Not
well,
favorite games, but I like the
Indeed,
show.
for example, Fallout 1, there's a town called Shady Sands.
Yeah.
By Fallout 2, Shady Sands has changed its name to the New California Republic and has started to help the communities around it to form the NCR, essentially. And then by the time of New Vegas, the NCR covers most of California and parts of Nevada. So it is basically the reborn America in philosophy, if not in action.
Okay.
And with all the corruption that it entails, that form of America from the games and from even real life, if you want to go that far, where, the rich still have proportionally too much power, all that. I mean, so it has all the falls of the modern democracy in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Okay. So to see them reduced because their capital was bombed just made me angry because I worked so hard to rebuild them through those games.
I gotcha.
Imagine you've just beat Mario 1, 2, 3, Super Mario World, and you've rescued the princess over and over again, and then you watching Super Mario Brothers the movie where it turns out Peach actually is in love with Bowser.
That's a
And
little
Mario's
crazy.
just jealous. Yeah, Mario's just jealous. He's
Yeah.
a stalker boyfriend.
Well, like I said, I had no skin in that one, so I've actually been enjoying it. I thought it was done on a reasonable budget.
Okay, now he's coughing.
They spent less money on that. They spent less money per episode on that than they did on She-Hulk. They spent about $8 million an episode versus She-Hulk, where they spent $25 million.
They spent $25 million per episode on that? Damn.
Yeah.
Waste of money.
Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate She-Hulk except for the finale, but that still seems excessive.
Yeah, kind of makes you wonder where the money went. You been watching Discovery, Mike?
No, I'm not watching Discovery. I'm kind of over Star Trek right now. I'll probably watch it later on when I'm, next time I'm on a binge fest like I was this week. But I thought this week, no, I was going to try to catch up on Star Wars, so I watched The Bad Batch. I didn't even realize until I started the first episode of the final season that I didn't even finish season 2. So I actually finished season 2.
I actually enjoyed that story arc. I thought it was pretty good.
Did you guys see Tales of the Jedi?
Yeah, I did.
Which one did you like best?
I did.
I would say the Ahsoka story arc.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not see the Tales of the Jedi, but I did see a couple episodes of Tales of the Empire because it just happened to start playing next, and I was too tired to change the thing.
Like, fuck it, it's Star Wars.
No, I actually watched all of Tales of the Empire. That was okay.
I think I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes. I'm not exactly sure.
The first 2 or 3 episodes deal with that Night Sister.
Yeah,
I forgot her name.
the one from Ahsoka.
Yeah, that one. And then the next one deals with next 3 deal with Brass Sasafi, which I rather liked for the most part, but I didn't like what they did with the character versus how the character developed in the EUs, because I really liked that character a lot more in the EU than what they did with it in Clone Wars.
Well, I have no opinion because I didn't watch that part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. it wasn't really. I didn't really find Tales of the Empire that great. I had nothing else I was doing. Actually, I was busy doing some stuff here, and I just had it on as mostly background, and I just thought it was okay. And that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, I've seen the trailers for the Acolyte, and I'm like, okay, Star Wars is ripping off the Matrix now.
Well, the vibe I got from Tales of the Empire, and again, I only watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, was it reminded me heavily of the Star Trek books. And what I mean about that is, if you ever read the Simon & Schuster series of Star Trek books that took place like between First Contact and Nemesis, that era,
No,
they tried to explain. Okay, but I realize you didn't. But what I want to do is just they explain why certain characters that were book only characters weren't in Nemesis, and they also try to explain like how everything ended up between First Contact and Nemesis, because the way the plot lines weren't resolved yet. And that's the vibe I get from it. They're trying to explain things that are normally explained in expanded materials, not usually on the actual TV series or stuff like that. Stuff that's relegated to comic books.
Yeah.
Or novels.
Exponential plot points, basically.
Yeah, they're going out of their way. It's exposition. That's what these episodes seem to be.
Yeah, I will admit that. But when it comes to this Acolyte thing, I mean, I saw the trailers, didn't really care for them. It's okay. I'm seeing a lot of Matrix style fighting. That's okay. Should not be part of this. And you know, who the hell are these Acolytes? I mean, I know that's supposed to be the big bad guy, but I'm just not interested. The trailers are not interesting me. The only reason I watched Tales of the Empire is because they were like 15-minute episodes. But they weren't needed. I mean, the Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi, those are, I mean, seriously, those are stories from the anthology books. I mean, that's how they were. There was a Tales of the Empire. There was a Tales of the New Republic. There was a Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Tales of Jabba's Palace. And they were just little side stories that really, most of them had nothing to do with advancing the plot. They were just random stories that happened during that time.
Yeah, that's how I feel about. That kind of explains what I was trying to say. That's what they are, and that's what they seem to be. So yeah, I realize I'm not really doing a good job explaining it, but yeah, that's what I mean.
They're fillers.
Yeah,
that's all they are. They're fillers. They're just fillers. Is like, hey, you want to know a little more about this person? Here you go. We gave you a little snippy snip. So we gave you 3 15-minute episodes, so we gave you a 45-minute. Basically, they gave you a 45-minute story arc.
With about 3 minutes of new footage.
Yeah.
Oh, something change. The new Planet of the Apes movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I finally saw that, and I have to just say that it's about fucking time we get a monkey movie about monkeys.
You know, I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen any of those new Planet of the Apes movies at all.
This movie has about 3% humans. Okay, this is a monkey movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I think they're actually available on one of my streaming services. I need to actually take a look and watch them because I heard they were pretty good.
The James Franco one sucked.
The first one. As much as I like the Planet of the Apes movies, both the originals, hell, I even like the Tim Burton one and the remakes. The title alone kind of makes me a little apprehensive because it implies that humans aren't apes too.
They're primates, not apes.
No, we're apes.
I'm not getting
We're literally apes. Elia, we're in the same family.
Same genome, I know, but two different classifications of species.
No, well, yeah, different classification of species, but I'm just saying of the whole. If you include every creature that is an ape, humans are there too.
Yes, I know.
And it's like we're already Planet of the Apes. It's not just chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans. Humans are apes too. I don't know. I always that always bugged me about the title, and I realized I don't even think that was the title in the original French. I think that's the Americanized title. But of course, that's the one the world ended up embracing because the Charlton Heston movie was just so good.
One of the things I learned, some behind the scenes stuff, was what they didn't realize it until later that the people who were wearing the ape, the orangutan, and the gorilla, they all ended up, they said they noticed something. They all ended up eating at the same table.
Yeah, all the chimpanzees, all the orangutans, all the gorillas. Yeah.
Yeah. You've heard that story too, Elihu. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like all of a sudden they all just ate together. It was funny. It's like one of the funniest things. They just said, yeah, all the orangutans ate together, all the gorillas ate together.
It just happened to boom, lunchtime. Okay, where's everybody sitting? Oh shit, that's weird. This is high school all over again.
About the size of it, ain't it? But, it's funny. That would make sense because remember in Planet of the Apes, there was a caste system.
Yeah.
Yeah. The orangutans were the politicians, essentially. The
gorillas were the military.
Gorillas were the military, and chimpanzees were basically everything else, including scientists.
Yep. They were the more war. Well, if you want to go into it, they had a politician caste, they had a warrior caste, and then they had a worker caste. And the worker caste, of course, the chimpanzees were the scientists and all the, the doctors and things like that.
Holy fuck. I think we just realized that the apes from Planet of the Apes are the Minbari.
Yes.
They got the warrior caste, the religious caste, and the worker caste.
Yes, actually, that's where I was making that comparison from because I was thinking just exactly of Babylon 5 and the Minbari. Yes, you are 100% correct. You got your 3 caste systems right there.
Wait, does that mean that Charlton Heston was Jeffrey Sinclair?
I don't know.
Taylor was not Sinclair, okay?
Well, think about it. He was the original Minbari, not born of Minbari. It makes sense. He's an ape. They just don't realize it.
That's a great thought. No, it's interesting to think about that because you bring up the Minbari like that because it's a show we know. But it's interesting that I just, bring up that thing about how they all ate in the same place. And it was like, oh, yeah, they had a caste system. And then we start talking. And I said, oh, shit. And like you said, I'm thinking, you said what I was thinking. And I was like, oh, shit, they're like the Minbari. So what did that
I think we should make a video about that. We can call it Planet of the Minbari.
Yeah, we could probably talk 20 minutes about that easy. Well, of course you'd expect the gorillas to be the military wing of your cast because, well, you've seen a gorilla.
Well, that's the thing. Gorillas are technically the most peaceful of the 3 species. chimpanzees would be more of the military branch if you know anything about their
Chimpanzees.
behavior.
You'd think so.
Chimpanzees have been known to go to war with other chimpanzees over territory.
I think the reason why they did it that way was because, it was the 60s and gorillas are bigger. So, you figure you'd go with that. But anyway, I mean, it was still interesting that they showed how they evolved. I mean, we got an idea on how they evolved and all that.
Yeah, but they also evolved a little too quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, 2 hours ago, another flare erupted in the same spots, 3664, which means we're getting some more high chance of auroras tonight again.
Yeah, one of my buddies texted, said, "Oh yeah, I was gonna get to see the aurora," and there were fucking clouds in the sky.
Yeah, I know. And I had light pollution here. I was looking at the webcam that was facing north. I'm like, okay, if I see some dark pink, I'm going outside. Nope, light pink and haze. That was it.
No. I'm in SoCal and I'm still too south for most of it. So, plus we got clouds.
Yeah, 10% chance you will see it. But I've been seeing the pink pictures, the green pictures. I'm like, shit, this is beautiful. This is awesome. Oh my, can you share the screen on your phone?
I'm not sure if I can. That's right.
I got a new laptop.
Yeah,
I'm having issues connecting my phone to my laptop for internet purposes.
Oh, you could have just asked me, Eli. I could have pulled this up in the group chat.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was able to do it.
Yeah, here's the aurora forecast. Again, see? We're observed. Again! We are in solar maximum, people.
And if you notice on that map, Southern California doesn't quite reach it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm on the southern part of Indiana, so very little chance I'm gonna get to see anything. Although we do have low light pollution around here.
My friend in Canada said she couldn't see anything last night.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Well, I mean, with the cones in our eyes and the haze and light pollution, if you have night mode on your phone, just put your phone on night mode just to see something at least. Hey, Caddy.
Hey, Caddy.
Hey, sweetheart. Come on up if you want to.
So, did the eclipse get anywhere near you guys where you could see some of it?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Did for me.
Yeah, I got to see the total. It was
Davey!
It was the second total solar eclipse I've seen. I saw the one in South Carolina as well, because I was there during that one.
I've seen a couple of them.
Why can't you come up, sweetheart?
Here. And I'll share this with you. I'll show you what it looked like at my place. Yes, I know how to share a fucking screen, dipshit.
You do?
Oh. Well, come on up if you want to.
And then all of a sudden, Venus shows up.
That's pretty cool.
Because I found out that was Venus.
To the right of it? Yeah, to the left of it was a comet. And Jupiter down below it.
It's so gorgeous, man. I mean, just amazing. mean, we had a blast. I'm not gonna bring. And yeah, there's Venus.
I'm your penis,
I'm your fire.
your desire. Oh, I finally saw every single episode of Rick and Morty.
Really?
Yep,
My
I finally
wife-
finished it.
How was it?
Funny as shit. I see why people are talking about it all the time. I'm like, dude, stop referring. I haven't seen one episode. Okay, I binged it all week, all 7 seasons.
Yeah, my son really liked that show. You know, it's funny since you brought up something like that. My wife loves Young Sheldon.
My wife.
She loves Young Sheldon. She's watched
All
every
right.
episode so far except for the newest ones.
All right, I stopped watching Young Sheldon for one very stupid reason. Well, because I don't care. Young Sheldon is the worst character in Young Sheldon. Everyone else is more interesting.
No, Jake. I'm just telling you what my wife said. My wife loves that show. She's come out laughing her ass off.
Well, maybe it's because I only watched like the first season or so, but to me, I enjoyed the storylines around everybody else except him.
He's a smart aleck, know-it-all kid. We already know what he's going to grow up to. Okay, enough.
Well, actually, that's the funny thing. I tried to watch Big Bang Theory, and I watched about 3 episodes, and as best I can tell you, I giggled. 1 episode for about a few seconds.
Well, see,
And I was like,
the thing is, Sheldon goes through so much character development over the course of Big Bang Theory that to see him become that original season 1 character is not fun.
I think the reason I like Young Sheldon is due to the fact that I didn't really watch Big Bang Theory that much.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing, Caddy, for my wife. She didn't watch Big Bang Theory either. She started watching Young Sheldon and just fell in love with it. She thinks it's funny as hell.
Like, I'm almost caught up on all the seasons because I've been following it on TikTok. Fun fact, because the cast posts on TikTok, so I follow them.
Okay.
Still do not have a TikTok account.
I've got 3. 2 I actively use. 1, I can't remember how to log into it. Although I do see it pop up sometimes.
No. I have 2. 1 that I use for primarily everything else, and 1 I use to stalk my kids.
I have one that is... I have one where I'm nice and I post nice things, and then I have my other one where I bitch about politics and other things.
See, I don't have to have a separate account to stalk my siblings. If I ask to follow them, they just approve me without question.
Yeah, but they don't want me watching their stuff and commenting on their stuff, so I had to create a second account just so I could.
Well, it's also because I don't comment on their stuff.
I rarely comment on my daughter's account. I rarely comment on my daughter's stuff, but most of her TikTok
and you don't understand. They don't even want me to say stuff like "good job" or "like it" or even knowing that I watched it. They don't want to know any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's due to the fact that they also know I only go on to, I'll look at their page if it pops up on my For You page. Fun fact, half the time I find out the way they have a new account is because they go and follow my account.
I've had 7 Twitter accounts and 4 TikTok accounts at different times because
I thought you had more than 7 Twitters.
Nah, it was only the latest one I got is my current one. That was around the time Musk bought the place, so I've been doing pretty good. I think I've only gotten a 3-day suspension so far.
Sorry,
You
all I
know,
can
you
think
know
of
what's funny is I have okay. Technically, I have 3 Twitter accounts. I've got the SD Game Swap one. I have a Vile Mic one because I accidentally created it while I was trying to connect my Twitter to my Gmail account. And I didn't realize when it said sign in via Gmail, it would just create me a new Twitter account. And then, of course, I've got the SD Game Swap 2, which I haven't used for a while now.
Ooh, Shaka Khan, Herbie Hancock, Commodores, nice.
Y'all are talking about having Twitter accounts. I have a Tumblr account.
I don't have one of those either.
I don't have that. I don't have Instagram. I don't have any of that stuff.
I
fact,
have
the only reason I
use Instagram.
Well, the only reason I even got on Twitter is because my wife wanted me to be on there to help monitor our kids. It's like, fine. She started making Twitter videos. I started seeing it. I was like, fuck it. I wasn't having much luck on my YouTube page, so I was like, screw it. Let me put some shit on here and see how it does. Generally, I get more views there than I do ever on YouTube by a long shot.
The funniest thing about it, the reason I signed up for Twitter, as ironic as this is, because it happened way back in the day, was Twitter was paying Facebook for advertisements. And they did a thing where if you signed up for Twitter through your Facebook account, they would give you $10 for free business advertising on Facebook. So essentially, Twitter was paying for my business to be featured on Facebook if I signed up for a business Twitter account, which is why my Twitter handle is SD Game Swap. And I had no intention of ever using it after that. I just wanted the $10 free advertising. Now, the funniest, if you look back on my history, there is probably like a 6-month to a year-long gap in between my first post and my second on Twitter.
Yeah,
and now I've got like 3,000.
Well, I didn't get on Twitter until after I retired from the military, because it used to be the rules of, apparently now they've laxed the social media rules when you're in your uniform and stuff, or you're representing the military. Because back in the day, I'd be on my Facebook page and I'd have guys who were retired and they'd be posting certain political things, and I'd be like, I'd privately message them. It's like, I'm 100% behind you, but I can't like or share this because if military sees it, they might question me about it. And they were all like, yeah, we totally get it. So I was like, I'm not getting on Twitter or anything else till then. So I didn't get on until I retired. And then I just got it on to piss people off. And honestly, the only reason I've stayed on it is because all the people I met when the lockdowns happened, we were doing all these streams during that time. It's pretty much the only reason I'm on there. Only reason I'm even on Facebook is because my family's on there.
I mean, that's basically the same reason why I have Facebook. And also basically the same reason why I have an Instagram. My friends kept telling me to get it, so inevitably I finally succumbed to peer pressure and finally downloaded myself Instagram and made myself an account.
Yeah, I might have to get an Instagram too. The only reason I still use Facebook is I use it to store pictures, and 2, I use it for the eBay store.
Well,
that's
are good
it. I mean, so if I do an Instagram, it's gonna be an extension of the eBay store.
Yeah, like I said, I pretty much talk to family and friends. I mean, unless I'm in a group on Facebook, everybody I talk to on Facebook is either family or somebody I've known for a very long time.
I was gonna state the only good thing that's ever come out of me having Instagram is I talked to a Broadway star once.
Is his name Jeremy?
What is Jeremy?
No, it was actually one of Jeremy's co-stars, Andrew Keenan Bulger.
Okay.
Me and one of my friends were fucking around and looking up different Broadway stars and their net worths. And one site I found was so incredibly bugged and dumb that my friend dared me into straight up sending it to Andrew. And so I made a little story saying, oh, I was writing this paper, and because I didn't want to just be like, hey, me and my friend were fucking around and sent this and found this thinking it was funny. And so I wrote this little story saying I was writing a paper on him, which I actually did end up later on writing a paper on him anyways, so
Half truth.
after the fact, but it was kind of funny in retrospect. But I sent him it, and it mentioned, so he's gay, and he has a husband, and in this website I had found, it mentioned his wife, who was 0 years old, and it was so clearly auto-generated that I was laughing so hard I was crying, and so was my friend. And again, I get dared to send it to him, and I end up doing it. Essentially just saying, oh, well, I hope it gives you a laugh like it did me. The next day, I get messages from a few of my friends going, hey, have you seen Andrew's post on his story? And I was like, no. And he goes, you need to check that out now. And I found out that Andrew posted about me finding this on his story and then messaged me back, haha, lol, thank you, you're amazing. But no, that is like the only actual celebrity interaction I've ever had. And
Okay, since you just talked about that, I got to tell you a story. I ran into a vendor at one of my Walmart stores, a vendor that I've not met before, and we were both working the same part of the store, so we started talking, and we're starting telling vendor stories. And what's funny is this is my most northern store, and it's her most southern store. She does a lot of stores up in LA and stuff, so San Diego's not really her territory. But I said, what's one of your favorite vendor stories? And she goes, well, there was this one time I was at one of my stores, a Walmart up in LA, and I saw this guy who looked just like Robert Downey Jr., but he looked younger than his promotional stuff. So she just figured he was a
Clown.
What do the look-alike peoples? I can't remember.
Look-alike? Doppelganger?
Yeah, look-alike. So she thought it was someone who, dressed as Robert Downey Jr. to pretend to kind of be Robert Downey Jr. for events and stuff like that.
What look-alike's called?
So she walked up to him and started talking to him and said that, you're like the impersonator. That's what I was thinking about. And she asked him, are you a Robert Downey Jr. impersonator? Because you look just like him, just younger. And he goes, no, I'm afraid I'm not an impersonator of Robert Downey Jr. He then looked at her and says, I'm Robert Downey Jr. And she was like, no, you're not. And he goes, yes, ma'am, I am. And at that point, she just was like completely deer in headlights and was like, okay, nice talking to you then, and walked away.
Well, I got to, unfortunately. Now go ahead, Mike.
So the only thing I just want to confirm, Robert Downey Jr. shops at Walmart.
So they have good bargains. Who cares?
Charlie Chapman entered a Charlie Chapman contest and came in third.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
deal.
So, other than meeting racing celebrities, because back when I was, and some people at cons, but when I ran into a celebrity randomly, unfortunately, it's not a celebrity that had a good ending. Do you remember Subway Jared?
Oh.
Yeah. So this was all before that shit happened. Oh God, this is so long ago. I think my daughter was a baby. I think my youngest was a baby even at the time. So we actually flew into Indiana. I think it was the last time we actually flew. But we flew to Indiana, visited with her parents, and then we were getting on a flight and we were leaving Indianapolis. Well, apparently, the Subway commercials were all going on. We were still watching TV back then, so commercials still came on. And Jared was the face of Subway. So I walk up to him and I said, because I recognize the guy, I said, "You look like the guy from the Subway commercials." He goes, "I am the guy." And so I shook his hand, asked him about Tony Stewart, introduced him to my kids. Boy, you imagine how creepy I feel now about that?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Just
And now when you imagine that scenario, you feel not only that bad, you're like, why didn't I just kick the guy in his crotch?
Well, because we didn't know anything about that then. That shit didn't
I
come out.
know.
Yeah, I mean, that shit didn't come out till years later. But I mean, it just, it's like, holy shit. And I let this guy I let my kids talk to this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, my skin crawled after that. So yeah, when I think of that scenario, I'm thinking, oh God, if I had known, well, yeah.
It's completely off topic from what we were talking about. Should I write another one of the caddy tortures her dad's friends?
Yes.
Yeah, who won the last one? Was it Eliu?
No,
What?
it was
No, I think I actually won it, but not by a lot.
with like a little over 1,000 points.
I think so.
I still have a
Because
Star Trek board.
I do have. I got the Star Wars boards. Once I can actually have some. I'm training new people next week, so hopefully I'll start having time to do Jet Nerdy again and advertise it properly so that people will actually show up.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even have. I mean, I probably could have the day I was sick, but as I said, I just spent most of the time binge watching stuff because I didn't want to move.
Yeah. Well, hey, Mike, trust me, I get it. I was on a medication for my skin issue. You saw it. And it was worse than the last medication I was on. So I was like, I'm done taking this. I'm like, I'm supposed to take this twice a day for 3 months. Fuck that. I've had some of the worst. I looked up the side effects. I have like 6 of them. So I've been off of it now a week. The fatigue is finally gone. The nausea seems to have gone away, but I'm telling you what, the last 2 days were a fucking nightmare when it comes to the nausea. I mean, I'm popping Gas X pills like they're fucking candy. And only thing I got dealing with today is, currently is diarrhea, but at least all the other shit's gone away. So there's that. But I'm sorry, man. When the medication is worse than the illness, yeah, fuck that. I got the topical cream. I'll just keep putting that on. I ain't taking that shit.
Be glad you don't go through chemo, dude. That shit is bad.
Anby, you want to know something kind of funny about, since you mentioned Gas X?
Mm-hmm.
One of the primary ingredients. Oh, well, you said Gas X, so I that's why I was bringing this up. some of you might know that I have a intolerancy to onions and garlic and anything in those families. There's a sugar in there that my body can't digest properly, similar to like lactose intolerancy.
So you have an insulin issue.
And it's not an insulin issue. It's my body just cannot break down a simple sugar that's found only in those types of plants.
Well, yeah, that's part of the whole sugar process thing. That's
so,
what I was saying.
But it's not really like an insulin problem. I don't have diabetes or anything like that. It's just same thing as people who are lactose intolerant.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. Except when I eat anything that has too much onions or garlic, I either get diarrhea or I throw up. Well, I found out that the active ingredient in Gas X is somehow acts as a thing that allows me to at least eat those things without having any of the issues.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But here's the funny part. What does Gas X supposed to do?
It's supposed to relieve gas.
Unfortunately, when I eat when I take Gas X, or at least the chemical that's in the active ingredient in it, it does the exact opposite when I eat garlic or onions. So now I take Gas X and then I end up farting a whole bunch.
It's kind of like if I take a Benadryl, I get all hyper and like I'm had 10 cups of espresso in 5 seconds.
I actually cannot take Benadryl or Sudafed because they raise my blood pressure, and I'm on two BP meds.
I can't take pills, period. Damn sorry.
Because everyone keeps using the word gelosia. I'm going to start using different Warrior Cats varieties of saying I'm going to go to the bathroom.
So you go into the outhouse.
No, I'm specifically going to be using a different nerdy thing. Something that's specific to me. And the first thing
don't say something along the lines of you're going to go use the litter box, because many people who watch my channel will take that literally.
Yeah.
No. Warrior Cats.
Don't tell me your daughter's a furry.
No. There is a very, very specific word that Warrior Cats, or 2 words. No, it's 1 word. That Warrior Cats uses to say the bathroom, which is the dirt place. And I think that is incredibly funny.
You're going to the dirt place. Are you going to a cemetery?
Yeah, that's what I initially thought it was. I found out later, no, it's the bathroom.
Okay.
That is Warrior Cat's bathroom.
I still like Gelogia.
Oh, Gelogia's fun to smell.
Of course,
it's even more funny when you yell out Gelogia while you're doing it.
It's an event to share with your friends, but if you're online, it's not polite to take your friends with you.
Oh man, some of these people I see on Twitter still arguing about shit we've been arguing about for 5 years. I'm just like, get over it, guys.
I've seen arguments on Twitter for things that happened in the 1980s at this point. So yeah, I'm like, why are you arguing over this? It's almost half a century old.
I was about to say, I'm fairly sure there are times we've seen people argue about stuff that is over 100 years old.
Toilet paper. Is it a mullet or bangs?
Well, to be fair, I literally have argued with people over like Civil War stuff on Twitter when they say stupid stuff about, Civil War. So
hey, historical things are one thing, but when we're talking about,
I mean when they say stuff like, okay, like for an example, you remember the Monitor versus the Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, famous naval battle.
Virginia sunk.
What they were saying was along the lines of the CSS was prepared to build over 200 of the ironclad type vessels and would have decimated the Union fleet in just 5 years.
No.
And I'm like,
No.
how can you say something that wrong?
First off, they both did create iron ships, and what happened? It ended in a draw.
Yeah,
They
because
kept
the guns weren't
shooting at
powerful
each
enough
other.
to hit. Yeah.
They kept shooting at each other, and it was a stalemate.
The maneuverability
And the only
was
reason the
great.
Virginia sunk was because it hit a freaking sandbar.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like when they're saying that the CSS was prepared to build over 200 of them.
No, they weren't.
What? I know, but I'm like, they didn't have the economy to build 10 more,
They were the
let
CSA,
alone
not
200.
the CSS.
Dude, I got over
CSA,
argument
not
recently.
CSS, though, Mike.
I got over an argument
Sorry.
recently about the flag design, the Confederate flags. I'm like, yeah, they went through some designs, and the best one was plain white.
Okay, well that's
It was
an
white with
average joke.
Oh my God! Don't, man, Elihu. Whenever anybody's like, "Oh, this flag," I'm like, "Why do you keep putting up the Tennessee Battle Standard?"
That's Confederate
Well, it's
flag
not
is
only
white.
that, and B, the battle flag. The battle flag is supposed to be square, so it's a 1x1. The naval battle flag was a 2x1. All right.
But there's a difference between a flag and a standard.
Yeah. The current flag that a lot of people tend to fly, which is based on the same dimensions as the United States flag, was never flown during the Civil War and was not flown until the 20th century by the KKK.
So what originally happened was, if you look at the original Confederate flag, because I've actually shown it to people. I've shown them the first,
Yeah.
the second, and the third, because they had 3 designs, and I'm like, does this? I've actually thrown the first one up, which was a white, which, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the first one all white with just a red stripe? And
wasn't the? I thought the first one was the circle stars and the 3 stripes.
You might be right.
Sorry,
because that's the one I use to piss people off.
Let me see. CSA flags.
Google Mobile.
all I can think right now is y'all are talking about this, and it's slowly becoming white noise.
Yeah, I know.
You can take that in 2 different ways. Is it white noise or is it white noise?
I actually like that movie.
But White Noise, I don't even think I remember that movie. I know I watched it, but I don't think I remember anything about it.
Yep, it's officially static.
All right, so yeah, you're right. The first flag was red, white, red with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars. The second flag was the one that was almost all white. And then they had the stars and bars part put in there on the far left.
Yeah.
And the third one was the same thing with putting the red stripe in. Yeah, I don't know why they thought about doing an almost all white flag. I mean, white flag means surrender. That's probably, and I believe that's why they put that red banner in there. But the one everybody sees is not that. That's the
yeah. It's the one that everyone sees is based on the Kentucky battle flag.
Yeah,
but is not. The dimensions don't match, and that dimensions when you're talking about flags matter.
Yes, they do, very much so.
That's why when people are flying their Confederate flag or what they think is the Confederate flag, that flag was not first used based on the dimensions until the KKK. That was their flag.
Yeah, they're flying your KKK flag, not the Confederate flag.
Sorry.
Now again, the Confederates did fly very similar flags, including a 2x1 that was very similar in dimensions, but that was their naval flag.
Can I talk now?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, sweetheart.
Sorry. Again, as you all are talking about this, all my brain can do is slowly enhance the national anthem in the background of my own head.
Tron, you find history boring?
Actually, I really like history, except I don't like this history.
Yeah.
But it's history.
I did an entire year of homeschool on this.
I was
I
about to
actually
say,
did.
Andy,
Yeah, I did.
Andy,
Yo,
what I like are the memes that I've seen though about things that lasted longer than the Confederacy.
yeah.
Have you seen the one that one guy posted about Star Trek?
no, actually, I've never seen those things. I've never seen those memes.
Okay. There was one where it was like things things in Star Trek that lasted longer than the Confederacy, and it was like Star Trek: The Next Generation, Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, Star Trek: Voyager, Star Trek: Enterprise, Star Trek: Lower Decks, not Star Trek: Picard, not Star Trek: The Original Series, Star Trek: The Original Series movies, Star Trek: The Next Generation movie, and it was like every season or every show of Star Trek that lasted longer and didn't last longer than the Confederacy. But at the very bottom was the amount of time Michael Dorn played Worf, and it was like from first appearance to final appearance on Star Trek Picard, and it was like Michael Dorn as Worf, 8 times longer than the Confederacy. Lasted 8 times longer.
I think Morin lasted longer than the Confederacy.
But that one I thought was funny.
Well, I taught the Civil War a couple years ago to my kids, and I started with a road to the Civil. I had a road map. I called the first half the road to the Civil War, and I started it with the Missouri Compromise, and I called that the first part of the rubber band that started the stretch. Because when you actually look through history of the Missouri Compromise, Kansas-Nebraska Act, the Supreme Court actually overturning the Missouri Compromise, the first time they ever overturned a federal law, you just started to see that rubber band. They were kicking the can down the road, and unfortunately, they just kept stretching it out.
NB, I agree. There was a God, I can't remember. There was a letter, and I can't remember who it was from, but it was one of the founding father eras. Like literally before the Constitution was fully ratified.
Yeah.
And it was a guy writing. I think he was writing to Thomas Jefferson, and he was a Southern plantation owner. And I think he was writing to Thomas Jefferson. I'm probably wrong about that, but all he said was, this Constitution, you're sowing the seeds of the dissolution of a union before it's even been, or what was it, water or something like that. I can't remember the thing, but he was saying himself that he didn't think that and it was because of the whole 3/5 compromise.
Is that part of the Federalist Papers?
I think it is.
No. This was a letter, and it was in a book of a bunch of stuff. God, I can't even remember anything. I just remember reading that freaking letter, and he was like saying, your entire idea of this country is going to not last because of what you're doing already.
Well, that was the problem, was the 3/5 compromise. I mean, that's what started it, was 3/5 compromise, which most people don't realize why that even was put in. That was put in that's why it's called the 3/5 compromise. It was put in because representatives, how many you get, were based on population.
Yeah.
So what did they do? They wanted to not include slaves, and the South said, hey, what the hell? So they came up with the 3/5 compromise, and then there was the Missouri Compromise, and there was the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and there was
ironically, what the guy was complaining about was the fact that he wanted slaves to be counted as part of the population in general.
Yeah, he did.
But his sentiments were correct that the Civil War, because of the issue of slavery, was basically going to be almost inevitable from the very beginning of this country.
Yeah. We had slavery in this country from the time it was founded to the end of the Civil War was, I believe, 90 years.
Well, if you want to get really pedantic, technically we still have it in this country because it's not. Even if you look at the Constitution, if you're a prisoner, you're still technically can be a slave.
Yeah.
Well,
That's exempt. That's
Constitution that
exemption.
says we have it in the Constitution that says those things.
Yeah.
In practice, it's not true, but I'm just saying, unless we decide to amend the Constitution.
I am entirely checked out.
Physically or mentally?
Yeah,
Well,
mostly conversation.
Oh.
Well, Caddy, I'm glad you're here because, and B, I'm also glad you're here for this one because the last thing I want to bring up before I end the stream was something I saw last week, but I didn't want to bring up because I was hoping to do the Jet Nerdy thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you guys hear about the story about a Domino's delivery driver who pulled up to the wrong house and the owner of the house decided to shoot up the guy's car?
Oh my god! Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Okay. NB, since you're the token conservative on the panel right now,
Yeah.
what do you think of that situation?
Okay, I would need to see and research it, but he went to the wrong house, brought a pizza, rang the doorbell.
No, he had not exited the car yet.
Oh, that one. Okay, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of a different video then. Yeah, he pulled up in there and he started shooting at the car. Yeah, pulled to the wrong house and he started shooting at the car. No, the guy saw the goddamn Domino's sign on there. There's no reason to be that crazy. There must have been something going on for him to have his gun, that access, that quick to go that fast.
Okay.
There's a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Well, here's my
what
question
he
for you.
did was
Hold on.
what he did was wrong. No, what he did was wrong. He should go to jail for that because that was bullshit.
That is what is confusing to me. Is a lot of my conservative friends who, when I brought up that story, they had the same sentiment as you. Okay, and what I decided to play devil's advocate with one of them, and that's the only reason I'm bringing this up on the stream was because of this conversation we had.
Okay.
I said, why should he? Because the guy, this happened in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and the shooter was arrested and put in jail. And how you doing, Yvette? Hopefully you're cooking something good for us. Now, as I said, I was playing devil's advocate, and I said, well, according to castle doctrine, if someone is on your property without your permission, you are in full rights to shoot that person.
Castle doctrine is not always that broad. It depends on what state and what city you live in. Because castle doctrine, because where I live, yes, I have castle doctrine. But however, it's not like I'm going to shoot up the UPS guy when he shows up.
Wait, doesn't the Catherine doctrine say that you have to give a verbal warning first before you actually open fire?
No.
I don't have to give a verbal warning. I don't have to do anything. So I live in a state where you have stand your ground law, and I have castle doctrine where I live. Now the thing is, I don't believe that really has castle doctrine because all the guy did was pull up in the yard. For all the guy knew, he was just backing up. It's like that time, you got to pull into somebody's driveway to do a 3-point turn. That's excessive. And yes, while castle doctrine does say things like that, the simple fact is, just because the car parked there, I'm sorry, I don't see that as a threat at the moment.
Well,
now,
remember, NB.
I'm talking as a responsible gun owner.
Okay.
He could have had his weapon in hand, fine. And when the guy exited and he would have saw him with the pizza, probably would have been like, sir, you got the wrong house. But instead he flipped out. And no, that's not right. That's not proper gun safety.
And be
And
on a personal level, I completely agree with you. But again, I'm going to continue playing devil's advocate a little bit. Okay. When it came to this, I don't know Tennessee Castle doctrine. I don't know if they have adopted that, but I use that as my my excuse, saying that if someone is on your property and you don't want them on your property, you are within your rights to shoot that person. Now, in this case, the guy in Tennessee only shot the car because his intent was to disable the vehicle.
No, you can't say that. No. That's bullshit.
That's what.
First off,
that was his excuse.
No, that's a bullshit excuse. I was going to disable the car.
Yeah, you don't want to have property.
You're
You
not
want
going
to
to
disable the car. No.
You're not going to disable the car with your 9mm.
And if you don't want them on a property, why do you want that vehicle still on your property? No, that makes no sense.
Yeah, literally. So you can't shoot out the tires. And I'm sorry, but unless you got something really good, you're not breaking that engine block. The guy's going to be able to get out. And also, you're shooting at night. You're shooting in the dark. You're just blind firing. Yeah, I mean, there was so much wrong with the way he handled his weapon. It was just like, and the way he reacted. No, it was completely wrong. I mean, that's the kind of shit that makes us reasonable gun owners look bad.
Again, I stand by the fact that either we need to entirely take away gun rights. Just no. They cause way too much pain and suffering for everyone in this country.
Caddy, I am, me.
As
often as I've been shot, as often as I've had a gun pointed at me, I still don't say we take away the guns. I am all for registering and insuring guns, because that's what I think should happen. But
I was gonna say, if not that, but the very least, anyone that does have a gun, and I don't remember if we did do this and then just it didn't work, or if there was talks about doing this the first part, but that anyone who does have a gun, one, needs to have it registered. Two, needs to have constant mental health checks for everyone in the house. Who has access.
I wouldn't do. I don't want to do something like that extreme. I do think mental health checks are important.
And it violates 4th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights.
But sweetheart, the way I look at it is same thing for having a car. Every few years, you have to get checked to make sure you're still able to use a car.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, guys. We don't have a constitutional right to drive. We do have a constitutional amendment to bear arms.
Well, on a militia, not an individual.
And what is a militia? What is a militia? What is in order to have a well-organized militia? What is a militia?
NB, well, hold on. First of all, I want to, Elihu, I agree with your sentiment there, but the Supreme Court has ruled that part doesn't matter anymore.
They should just eliminate it from the Constitution itself instead of leave it in there.
Again, you'd have to amend the Constitution, and people tend not to want to do that nowadays.
Well, that's because it takes. Hey, amending the Constitution takes 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate, 3/4 the states.
If the Supreme Court wants to say one part of a law does not apply, then that should be stricken from written record. That means that it needs to be amended. So that means it still applies because it's still written.
Elihu, the Supreme Court has to follow the Constitution. They can't say something in the Constitution is unconstitutional because it's in the Constitution.
So militia still applies.
Yes,
except the way they
is.
I agree with your sentiment, Elihu, but I'm just saying, as of right now, it's a moot point.
All right. So this is how the Second Amendment goes. A well-regulated militia, being necessary for the security of a free state, The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, what is a militia? A militia is made up of civilians, not the National Guard, not the reserves, not the military. They are made up of civilians.
Generally an army or
Well-
some other fighting organization of non-professional and or part-time soldiers, citizens of a country, or subjects of a state, who may perform military service during a time of need, as opposed to a professional force of regular, full-time military personnel, or, historically, to members of a warrior nobility class.
But
So
yeah, so
basically
we're
what I
not gonna go into the whole militia aspect of this because we're just talking about a guy who shot up a car in his driveway.
Yeah,
Now-
we're getting too far off topic here.
So
but
Sorry.
anyway,
So-
yeah, no, the simple fact is he was in the
on
wrong.
in this case, because I think all cases should be done on a case by case basis.
Agree.
I don't like broad generalizations. That's one of the good things about a bureaucracy, in my opinion, is if you got a large enough bureaucracy, everything can be done on a case by case basis, even though most of the times a bureaucracy sucks.
Well,
So-
one of the things you got to understand is castle doctrine does not give you unlimited power to shoot people on your property. It doesn't. It depends on the state. It depends on the wording in their castle doctrine. So, like, for example, if somebody, like I said, I can't just shoot up the UPS guy when he shows up because, what's my justification? I feel threatened. It's like I get UPS shit sent all the time.
Hold on,
but,
NB, the whole point is if you feel threatened, you're supposed to be able to allow to defend yourself.
yes, but the
That's
question
what a lot of the stand your ground and castle doctrine stuff is.
Yeah, but here's where you run into the problem. If the guy felt threatened, why did he come out of the house and start shooting?
Clear line of sight.
Well, that's the whole argument is he felt threatened.
Clear line of sight from outside rather than inside.
No, but did he know the situational awareness? Was he drinking? Was he on drugs? Was he on any kind of medication? There's a lot of things.
Despite me trying to look up, because I was literally trying to look up more information about this when before I started the stream, there is no indication that he was on any kind of drugs, alcohol, or anything like that. But I can't say for certain that it was because a lot of the news articles were, as far as I hate to say it, were a little bit more biased on the liberal side.
The whole thing was when I saw that, he came out and he just started shooting. He didn't do anything else. Now, I know that there's not necessarily a warning, but like I said, this is a case-by-case basis. Castle doctrine, okay, for example, I could, if my neighbor's dog comes on my property, yes, I can legally shoot it. Now, of course, I'm not going to do that if I don't, because I'm not going to shoot a dog unless I absolutely have to.
Unless it's actively trying to attack you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to shoot a dog. I mean, fucking A. I'm a man with a conscience. I don't like people, but I love dogs.
Well, so NB, from
if my neighbor comes on my if my neighbor comes on my property, we don't have good relations with each other. So if he comes on my property, that would give me, I would have justification to say, okay, he might be threatening my life, and we see how it plays out. But one of the differences also, last thing I want is to be pulling the trigger on my front lawn and my whole family have to go through that.
Yeah.
Sorry, so this guy didn't think anything through. Because it made no sense. I mean, the guy just barely gets time to pull up. He's not even there to get out. And the guy comes down and starts shooting at him.
Yeah.
You got to wonder.
He didn't even.
I know. He didn't. I was just going to say, he didn't have time to realize he was at the wrong location. Yeah. And I mean, well, that's going to happen. GPS isn't always 100% accurate. So yeah, the guy just came out and started shooting, and it's kind of like, what the hell was your reason for that? The car pulled up, and the guy never even got out. That does not, in my opinion, I don't see how he could have justifiably say he felt threatened.
Oh no, car, I didn't know. How many cars drive past your house daily?
Well, where I live, only about 20.
Still,
Yeah, he
20
lives in
times you didn't shoot someone.
So
he lives in
No, I mean,
Boondock.
I live in a town of 600 people, and I live on a block
All right,
that
so-
has. I live on a block
Andy.
that has.
3 or 4 houses.
Yeah, pretty much.
all right,
5
so
on our whole
we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this as the court of public opinion here. NB, do you think? Because right now, from what I understand, on one of the updates, the guy is in jail right now. The shooter was arrested. I don't know if he's out on bail, but do you think he should be? Everyone on the panel, do you think he should be charged with a crime? And if so, what crime?
I think it should be charged with illegal discharge of a firearm, public endangerment, and property damage of the man's vehicle.
Okay, so you do think he should be charged. All right. Elihu, how about
Yes, I
you?
do.
Discharge of a firearm, endangerment of public, attempted homicide.
Yep.
And a 5150 evaluation,
I'm gonna-
psychological evaluation.
Okay, I'll wait till I do my part. Never mind.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Follow
Okay.
up with
Caddy?
the psychological evaluation.
Actually, I'm with Elihu on that 51. I second the 5150 thing.
Really? I'm shocked, MB.
You don't just do that without a reason.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of psychological evaluation to go on before anything ever gets officially charged.
Yeah,
That needs to
either
happen.
there definitely needs to be a 5150 evaluation. I would 100% agree with Elihu on that one.
Yeah, then they can find out what needs to be charged out. Is it involuntary manslaughter, or is it attempted murder, or is it just illegally firing a firearm and disturbing the public? Which one is it? Yeah,
I agree
evaluate the
with
guy.
Elihu. We need a medical evaluation to make sure the charges are proportionate to the mental capacity of the person. I'm actually in agreement with Elihu on that.
And the world just did a 180.
Actually,
All
I
right.
basically agree with everything they said.
Of course you
Okay.
do.
Again,
Pardon me.
at the very
Because I was
least,
thinking. Go ahead. Go
Sorry.
ahead. Sorry, Caddy. Go ahead.
I was gonna say at the very least, yes, he needs a mental evaluation, but either way, I would say he definitely needs at least an involuntary manslaughter charge.
I would say
Well,
Attempted manslaughter.
I would say
No,
illegal
'cause that's not how
discharge of a
hold on.
firearm.
Caddy,
Yeah.
that's not how manslaughter works.
No, that's why I said attempted
Unfortunately,
homicide.
you can't do attempted manslaughter. Sorry.
That's why I
Sorry,
said attempted
attempted murder. Is that
homicide.
better?
Sorry,
is attempted murder
in
better?
all honesty, based on everything that I've read and the very little I know about Tennessee law, after 10 minutes of Googling, so I apologize. The only things I feel that he could be charged with was 1, reckless endangerment,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and vandalism.
Yeah. Also, misuse of a firearm.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't know if because I'm not a legal expert in Tennessee law, I don't see how it was reckless use of a firearm because he did correctly use the firearm.
Well,
And if you believe his statement that he was shooting the vehicle, not the person driving the vehicle, with the intent to disable the vehicle.
I don't believe a word that he
I'm
said
sorry.
there.
I'm taking that statement as
face value.
at face value because I feel I have to if I'm playing devil's advocate.
I need some more coffee. Be right back.
Can we please subject him to a lie detector?
Now,
Well, lie detectors are barely above flipping a coin.
I know, but still.
lie detectors are not admissible in court.
Damn.
Yeah.
They
And
never have
yes,
been.
and remember, the best they can do is make show that you think you're telling the truth, not whether what you're saying is the truth.
Yeah.
Damn, where's that magic serum that makes people tell the truth?
Well, we don't have that yet.
Yeah, it's in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
True serum.
So, but again,
sodium pentyl. Even
for
I don't
anyone
think
who's
sodium
watching this
pentyl
in
works as good.
for anyone who's watching this in the future, just understand I only did about 10 minutes of Googling on Tennessee law. I'm just basing that on what I'm talking about, or 10 minutes of Googling, not an in-depth, everything. Now, here's my next question for you
Basically, you
guys.
did what Ala did with her career. Okay.
Now, here's my next question, and this is the one that really pissed off my certain conservative friend, and Stephanie, or sorry, Caddy, you know this person.
Huh?
Let's just say they're named after a Canadian mammal.
Oh, him. Okay.
A beaver?
Okay. No. Should he have his right to bear arms taken away from him?
Yes.
Depending on his mental health evaluation and depending on if he's charged. So, like, for example, and here's why I say this. When I was going through a heavy drinking phase back in 16, I went to was going to rehab. My first sergeant brought my wife down and said, "Do you have guns in the house?" She goes, "Yes." He goes, "Are you willing to turn them over?" She goes, "No, he has a drinking problem. He doesn't have a homicidal or suicidal problem." And because she knew that, it's not like, I went around bringing the guns around. I was very responsible with them because that's how I'm trained to be. So I don't fuck around and play with guns. But yeah, that came up because of that. But you really need to have a mental evaluation, and then it depends on the charges and what the penalties are for that. But I would definitely say, considering this part here, I would definitely say that a part of his bail is he has to relinquish, you have to relinquish your passport and everything. I would say it's not unreasonable to say you need to relinquish your firearms until this is all over.
But you wouldn't say so not to have his right to bear arms permanently revoked.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, so for example, my ex-wife got charged with a crime that had nothing to do with a gun, but it was California, and when she pleaded no contest to it, one of the stipulations was you are not allowed to purchase a firearm for 10 years. So I don't know what Tennessee's law is. I'm not saying take away the right permanently. We need more context to it. But I would say because of the situation and the context of what happened, I would say part of his bail should be you have to relinquish your firearms. I mean, come on, we make people relinquish their passports. I'm only trying to play fair is fair.
Yeah,
Yes, I know. I'm the conservative.
Hey, people who get drunk driving get their driver's license taken away, so why not, right?
Yeah,
No, I agree completely. I'm saying until, he gets his 5150 evaluation, the judge can actually order them to do a mental health evaluation. I had to do 3 of them that were court ordered.
Oh yeah, I know. I've had to do it myself, and that was for a freaking custody hearing.
Yep, same here. Same fucking here. I had to do 3 of them for a custody hearing.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know all about it. So you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Because
I think that for the time, condition of his parole or probation or bail, sorry, trying to get my names right, is that he has to relinquish his firearms pending charges in trial. I don't think that's unreasonable, and I don't think that violates the Second Amendment at this moment. Now, if he's convicted, well, he'll do some jail time probably. If he's not convicted, he'll get his weapons back. If his mental evaluation comes back good, everything should be fine. Maybe he was just having a bad fucking day.
Hold on. I got someone trying to join up, but I don't recognize you. Can you put who you are in the private chat for me? See if anyone else knows you before I bring you up.
I don't think
the Truckers Podcast.
Mike, I don't
you know that person.
I don't know if some of the conservatives you talk to are as. I have no idea who that is.
Sounds familiar. Turn on your camera and wave the mic. It's your real person.
Well, he had his camera on earlier. Hold on, I'll bring him up.
Sounds familiar.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
all right.
That's why I said
thank you so much.
That's why I said sounds familiar. Didn't say I verify. I'm like,
some people just have.
No, thank you so much for being a jackass. I thought maybe he was a friend of yours, NB, because the name Trucker Podcast, and we're talking about this.
I would have told you if I knew who they were. Oh well. Some troll just wanted to have a laugh. Okay, you got your 2 seconds of fame.
Yay.
Again, I had a bad feeling and I turned my phone away.
Oh, I've seen worse. So
my Pornhub search history is worse than that, but still, I don't need it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Well, can I take down this?
Well, what do you think, Mike? Do you think that? What do you think? Does it surprise you that I agree that during his time on probation or bail, that until the trial and everything goes, yes, I agree with.
No, I think everything you said was very reasonable. But when I was playing devil's advocate, I was saying that the guy who was the driver should have been put in jail. When I was playing devil's advocate, that pissed me off.
I forgot to say this. I need to apologize. Sorry, Mike, hang on. Sorry, I've got to say this. I need to apologize. Everybody's watching on X right now about what just happened. Some troll just got 2 seconds of glory, so that was it.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're cross streaming, guys. I just want to apologize to people on X who happen to be watching, or if they'll be watching this.
Because I was like, well, technically, didn't the kid commit trespassing? Shouldn't he be put in jail too?
No, he was on a road on his job. He thought he went to the wrong location for his job delivery. So no, the driver should not be held responsible for anything.
I think that.
Hold on. If you accidentally break the law, aren't you still guilty of breaking the law?
What law was broken?
Yeah, literally. No, I don't think a law was broken.
Question: was he in his car on the road?
He was in his car in the guy's driveway, which means he technically was still on his job en route. When he gets out of his car, then it's trespassing.
Yeah, the second he got out of his car, no, he wouldn't. I don't think he was even technically on his property if he was still on the road in front of his property.
No, he was in the guy's driveway
when the guy started shooting at him, and that's when. I don't think. Dude, I'm going to be honest. That is just, come on. Shooting at a guy who might just be doing a 3-point turn.
If the driver was there for ill intent, yeah, I see the reason for opening fire. But the guy just pulled up and he just came out of his house and started shooting fire. No, this is not trespassing. He was in the middle of his job there. He did not even get out of the car yet. So I see no fault for the driver on this.
Yeah.
The guy with the gun, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing fault on the driver on this one. Okay, did he go to the wrong house? Like I said, GPS ain't always perfect. So he went one house down and this guy shot up his vehicle. Yeah, I don't know if Castle Doctrine really, if he's in jail, they probably said, no, dude, Castle Doctrine doesn't apply here.
Sorry, I'm gonna make a joke about this entire situation. The idea of him driving home or driving back to the Domino's, manager walking out going, "What the hell happened to the car.
It's
All
his
right.
car.
It appears that Yvette is trying to join, but based on what we just happened and the fact that someone else tried to join called Caddy, Yvette, can you prove that that's you trying to join real quick and not some asshole again?
Because we know what you look like.
Well, it's got her avatar, but
Huh.
what I think it's funny that someone just tried to join who is named Caddy.
Oh boy.
So
Did it have the Bonnie and Clyde avatar too?
no, it had some other avatar, but this person seems to be using Yvette's, and
She said it's
yeah,
not her.
Yvette did. So yeah, nice try, jackass.
I still think it's very funny that despite the fact that I am very much against gun violence and gun rights in general, I think they are almost archaic in some ways.
How so?
It's something that I also do have issues because I fall on the line of, yes, I understand why people want them, but me personally does not think that we should be allowed to have them because
Well,
of how much gun violence
all
there
right,
is.
let
in
me
this
let me
country.
put it to you this way, Caddy. My wife's 4'8", 100 pounds, soaking wet. Do you think she can take on an assailant?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Her training.
Well, yeah,
Again.
but still, her training is one thing,
Hold
but
on.
still, you have to
Yep.
deal with. So
I understand why people want them, but it's seeing how much gun violence there is, how much hurt it's caused families. Part of me just wants it to be gone. That
okay.
it's completely unreasonable. I know that. But the whole optimist in me just wants guns to be gone.
Maybe we should get a Canadian's perspective on America's gun laws.
Oh God,
Well-
I don't need to hear another Canadian's perspective on gun laws. Oh boy.
Remember, I'm so far left at sometimes that I'm at the point where you get your guns back. So
Look,
I am a gun owner, but again, I have.
Well, look
as
at
I've made clear, and as far as Darren says, I don't own any guns because most of them are in Texas. But the one gun I have is a single shotgun, and I only have 4 rounds for it right now, and they're loaded with rock salt.
That still hurts. That's a deterrent.
yeah,
I know,
so
I've
you've
been
got-
shot with
so
rock salt. I
basically
know
you've
it hurts.
got- so
Yeah.
basically you've got a riot weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got a riot weapon.
it's basically, and the funniest part is, it's in my storage unit. Which Caddy, do you know how hard it was to hide that damn thing when we were moving storage units when all the kids were helping?
Oh God, I can only assume.
I wrapped it up in blankets and I put it in the back and yeah. So yeah, I was trying to make sure they didn't see it because I didn't want them freaking out.
I think what's funny is I would have laughed at it and go, "Oh, is that what you're going to use on Matt?"
Why would anybody
Yes.
freak
I would
out?
have laughed about it.
Well,
Kids.
because they're not
Kids.
familiar
I
with
get-
guns.
I
Even
don't
Caddy's
under-
not familiar with guns.
I don't understand. Okay. My
Yeah,
kids
no,
are like, well, actually, this might shock you guys. My guns aren't actually locked up. Well, some of them are, but I got a few out, and my kids don't mess with them. They don't touch them because they've been out to the range. They've shot. They've cleaned them. They've seen how they work.
If you are
They-
a responsible gun owner, I see no problem with you owning them. It's when people like the guy we were talking about go fly off the handle for the smallest and dumbest of reasons. At that point, I don't care if you were a responsible gun owner up to that point. After that, no, you should not be allowed to have guns, period.
Well,
second you
it depends on the
them,
situation. I mean, was this guy... And I'm going to play devil's advocate on his side. To come out and do that quick, I wonder if he had a threat on his life and he was taking it seriously. But like I said, we need a trial to have the context to it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
as of right now, there hasn't been a trial, but I just thought this was an interesting conversation based on what I was saying. And when I was playing devil's advocate, I was joking, not really joking, but I was trying to say like, because this friend of mine did try to argue originally for castle doctrine. That's why I brought it up.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, so the kid, the 17-year-old, should be put in jail because he did criminally trespass. So that's basically established. But I'm not going to argue that point too much.
Because trespassing would imply intent.
Well, that's the thing about trespassing is it doesn't necessarily require intent. It just has to be done.
Can you show the map real fast so I can show you
that? Can you want to bring it up? Okay.
Yeah. Yvette, red is highly probability. You can look north, you can see some pink and green in a few hours. If you have no clouds, I know you're in a little light pollution area. I just want to let you know there's a high probability of seeing the aurora tonight for you, okay?
On another hand, I do want to go back and talk about anything besides this.
Well, the stream's been going for 2 hours. This is the last thing I wanted to bring up. If you want to bring up something really quickly, because I do have to work today, sweetheart.
I know. No, I was gonna bring up the idea of like what categories to put on the Caddy tortures her dad's friends, which is do I make another Jeremy Jordan mini category that isn't actually a category, or do I throw all caution to the wind and actually make a Jeremy Jordan category?
Where obviously answers Jeremy Jordan.
I'd say it's up to you.
The entire category's answers are just the name Jeremy Jordan.
That would be funny.
Or you could just have one category, all Bonnie and his little personal history. One category, all Clyde, all personal history, like where did he go to school, how old was he, when was his first son, that sort of stuff. Like we're gonna know that shit.
Go as far into their history as I know.
Yeah.
I was reading more and more about Bonnie and Clyde, and apparently there's a lot of mystery around if Bonnie was pregnant at the time of her death. Like a lot of people, including the families, are like, no. But there's also a lot of proof that she may have been, because apparently there are a bunch of girls who actually were waiting to take care of Bonnie's baby around the time she died.
From what I understand, based on the corpses, sweetheart, if she was pregnant, she was probably less than a month pregnant.
Oh, yeah. Like, the other thing is, it's the 1930s. It would have been kept very, very hush-hush, especially due to the fact that, one, she was wedded, two, it would have been considered a child out of wedlock.
Are you muted?
So.
Tell your wife and me you're not muted.
But all right, NB, I just wanted to say once again, you're the one who sounds like a crazy liberal. But I appreciate the honesty, and I hope you don't mind me using you as a conservative proxy.
Yeah, once again, he's talking to his wife.
I don't know if he can be though.
No, I'm right here. What'd you say, bud? Sorry.
I was saying, I was just making a joke. One, you said, thanks for sounding like a little nutball for me. And hopefully you didn't mind me using you as a conservative proxy because you're the token conservative on the panel.
No problem, buddy. At least we actually can have conversations without losing our fucking minds.
Yeah.
Too late.
You can bring in the 20-year-old who has entirely different views, and I try to stay as impartial as possible.
Well, one of the things I tell people is I say, if we actually have rational conversations and we take the emotion out of it and actually act like logical, reasonable people, you'll find we have a lot more in common than we have apart. You really do. We are not as divided.
Well, remember, I'm liberal, but I'm not a leftist, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're a
I'm
centrist,
on
and
the left,
Elihu is a
but-
liberal. But Elihu is a classical liberal. He's not a leftist.
I think a lot of people who are called leftists aren't really leftists, to be honest.
And I'm
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I'm a part of the Gen Z.
Understand. I argue for socialism. I am very pro-socialism. Does that make me a communist? No.
No, but
Because-
I'm not going to agree with you on the socialist part. You know that.
Remember, I'm also okay. I'm pro-military without necessarily being pro-military spending the way we do, because the military is a socialist organization.
Well, I would 100% agree with that. It
So
completely
that's
is.
that's one of the reasons I argue that I'm a socialist. But I also I'm weird like that, and that's why I piss people off.
Well,
Sorry.
one of the things you. Oh, sorry, Caddy.
Oh no, I have nothing to do with this conversation with what I was about to say. My brain
Oh.
was just thinking back to again having a category in the Caddy Tortures Her Friends that's all about me, and the 500-point question just being pick a name, any name, whoever's name is my favorite wins the question.
Can that be Clyde Barker?
All right, we've been going for over 2 hours. I do need to work today, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream.
All right, bud.
Caddy, since you are the vile child, you get to choose which Strange New Worlds clip we end with. Which one was your favorite?
Can I choose the phaser instead?
Well, I'm going to play that one regardless, because I almost always play that one.
Awesome. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Well, since you like musicals, how about we do the Doctor's Opera?
Sure.
All right. Elihu, this is one you don't have to take your headphones off.
Yeah, I know.
Where's the Caddy one?
And of course,
All right, you're 19 years old now. I figure it's about time you got one after all your complaining.
Die, Daddy, die!
You know,
all
Caddy.
right.
No, sorry. One
I'll
thing
see
I
you
did
guys next week.
Sorry, I do want
Go
to
ahead.
really quickly say something that's really funny about that specific clip. I'm wearing a Yuma Territorial T-shirt in that clip.
After shooting me, you deserve to be in the prison. All right.
I find that incredibly funny.
Bye, weirdos.
Later, folks.
Later.